These last 2 weeks, when it comes to going to the theater, oh man, I must take pains to burn them into my memory because of how they've taught us a valuable lesson, and that lesson is this. You don't risk making an ass out of yourself by pre-reviewing a movie based on a trailer. I trust none of you actually live under a rock and shit, so there's no point in going over the shitstorm surrounding Girl Ghostbusters, both before the trailer's release and then using it as an excuse to heap a fuck ton of hate upon it. But because of that hoopla, many seem to have forgotten that the trailer for Star Trek 13 got quite a negative reception as well. And the end result? All the hemming and hawing, all the doomsday predictions. But then those who bothered to go and see the films found they weren't all that bad. Quite good, on the contrary. We'll start with Girl Ghostbusters. Yeah. The trailer made it look like the humor was all forced. The actors will be unfunny. Blah, blah, blah. Well, not really. While I'll admit that the humor could be viewed as hit or miss, it hit way more than it missed. This is not something like Transformers movies, where the writers throw every sort of joke at the wall in the hope that something sticks. And slapstickiness is not the focus. For those who worried, however, about the chick flickification of Ghostbusters or whatever, you were sort of right. The initial three scientists aren't all working closely at first like in the original. Rather, Kristen Wiig's character, Erin Gilbert, seeks out her old colleague, Abby Yates, played by Melissa McCarthy. They parted ways long ago, but when Erin finds a book they co-wrote available on Amazon, she storms after her, afraid it'll tank her chances for tenure at Columbia University. Then she gets roped into ghost tracking with Abby and the gadgeteer genius Jillian Holtzman, and soon the subway worker Patty Tolan comes along with tales of spirits of executed criminals haunting the tunnels. There's a vibe about rekindling old friendships that split apart for stupid reasons while forging new ones. And it's this sort of thing that makes the chemistry between this foursome work just as good as, if not better than, the original crew. Another thing I liked was seeing these busters needing to test out and perfect their gear, practice using them. Though I admit I hated the look of the jumpsuits and proton packs seen in set photos, in the movie proper, they looked fine and the busting was fun to watch. Though the practical effects in the originals hold up better, the CGI works well enough to squelch my usual cynicism. Slimer, in particular, and the textures on his model really stand out. Yeah, Slimer pops up, though he's not the initial capture, and Stay Puft shows up briefly too, though not as the final obstacle that Ghostbusters must overcome. There's plenty of other subtle nods to the old continuity, including a plot device reminiscent of something seen in the 2009 game. If I have any real complaints, it was the undercooked villain here. The movie elucidates how he's meant to be a shadowy foil for Kristen Wiig's character, but it just doesn't delve deep enough. An opportunity to make a commanding villain set apart from Gozer, Vigo, and Ivo Shandor wasted. Other than that, it was enjoyable, and around the same level of quality as all the other entries in the old continuity, meaning the two films in the 2009 game. Now on to Star Trek 13. Oh, the hubbub over Justin Lin, the Fast and Furious director, taking the helm as J.J. Abrams moved into the role of producer. The backlash after its trailer's release was swift, with doomsday predictions of complete Michael Bayification or whatever, plus whining about seemingly recycling the Enterprise's destruction from Star Trek 3. Let me say this point blank, if you thought any of that, put a sign on your head that says "Slap me, I'm a jackass." This movie dumped a fuckload of yamak sauce-soaked tribbles on all your asses. I'm still reeling from the irony. This latest Trek actually has a slower, more methodical feel to it, with a pacing more akin to the classic Trek films that I grew up with. And that was no rehash with the totaled Enterprise. As you may imagine, it came early in the film, and hot damn, you feel the heart-wrench and impact even though you knew it was coming. And I liked the new characters too. Jayla, the white-skinned alien chick with the sweet pair of ninja-kicking legs, has a lot of chemistry with the crew, especially Scotty. And the villain Crawl, played masterfully by Idris Elba, maintained a sense of mystery and menace all throughout the film, with one big holy shitballs reveal regarding him save for the end. Everything about this movie betrays a significantly more thoughtful approach to filming a Trek movie in the reboot era. Not to say the previous two are bad. On the contrary, I consider Star Trek 11 and 12 among the very best in the film franchise. But this showed that the filmmakers are not coasting and are still putting in, as Deadpool would say, maximum effort. So yeah, Unlucky 13 my ass. This is easily in the same league as its two predecessors and stands as one of the very best among the franchise's many entries. The only negatives I can think of at the moment are things that the filmmakers had no control over. This is the first Trek film where there's no chance you'll ever see Leonard Nimoy, and it's shown in this film that Spock Prime has passed on. I was nearly brought to tears, this reminder that the Spock I remember best is gone and will never come back, just like how I'm sure some Ghostbusters fans teared up upon seeing a bust of Harold Ramis. Also, there was the untimely death of Anton Yelchin. Not only will we never see the new Pavel Chekhov again after this, but we lost the young Kyle Reese and the new movie version of Clumsy Smurf. He's got some other posthumous releases, but this is what he'll be remembered for most, and it was a bitter realization that Chekhov is gone. Suddenly, that joke about him putting on a red shirt in the last movie isn't so funny anymore. Anyway, the point is, both films were a success despite the howling over their trailers. A lot of filmmaking teams would kill for the Rotten Tomato scores they've earned. Just ask anyone who worked on Fantastic. So maybe we can all agree to save spitting venom until after you've seen a movie, and don't pre-review based on a trailer. I give Girl Ghostbusters a 7.75 out of 10, and Star Trek 13 an 8.5 out of 10.